beginning of every year, there's a lot of predictions made about what will or won't happen to house prices. Sometimes those predictions are spot on, sometimes they're way off. One thing's for sure, nobody would have predicted what's happened so far this year. So let's see how some of those predictions have held up so far. Let's see what some of the major commentators predicted about house prices for 2020 at the start of the year. Okay, so Rightmove predicted a 2% increase in house prices. Zoopla also predicted a 2% increase in house prices. Halifax predicted a 1 to 3% rise, and Rick's also predicted a 2% increase. After COVID-19 hit and subsequent lockdowns were put in place, more predictions or stress tests came out in May of this year, which weren't as pretty. The Bank of England predicted a fall by as much as 16%, and a lot of leading agencies also predicted falls by as much as 7%. So what has actually happened to house prices so far this year? So even taking into consideration COVID-19 and the subsequent lockdowns, house prices, according to the most official measure, Land Registry, are actually up by 2.5% to 239,196 as of August of 2020. The Halifax House Price Index, which is more up to date, registered house prices is up by 7.5% to 250,457 as of October of 2020. And lastly, the Rightmove House Price Index, which measures asking prices, registered house prices is up by 5.5%, up to 323,530 as of October of 2020. In Greater London, the story has been very similar, with house prices up on an annual basis across all official measures. So as you can see, house prices are pretty much up across the board, which is not what the experts predicted back in May. So on the backdrop of a recession, what's been driving house prices? First and foremost, the stamp duty holiday. Without a shadow of a doubt, this looming March 31st, 2021 deadline has increased demand from home movers and home buyers to rush to try and get those transactions through. Changing consumer behavior. The increased time we've all spent at home this year has made us all reassess our housing needs and make us decide maybe it's time to move, which has added to the already existing pent-up demand. And lastly, government policy. Although interest rates have creeped up a little bit this year, they're still historically very low, and home movers and home buyers have taken advantage of this. On top of this, the government have really stepped in with things like mortgage holidays and the job retention scheme, which has allowed the property market to weather the storm of the pandemic. So I keep getting asked, should I buy now or should I wait for a potential drop in house prices? The answer to this highly depends on you and what your personal goals are. But if this year has taught us anything, it's that predictions can often be very, very wrong, even from the experts. So not all of the data from all of the official measures is actually true about house prices just yet, but it doesn't look like that 5 to 15% drop in house prices is happening this year. So what will prices do next year? First and foremost, different regions across the UK will experience their own individual price movements. Not every area in the UK operates in the same way. But my answer ultimately to that question is that house prices next year might go up, they might go down, or they might stay the same. If you're buying a property in an area which has got great fundamentals, you've done your research, and you're looking at this from a long-term perspective, the likelihood of your property price going up over the long term is higher than the likelihood of your property price going down over the long term.